You're listening to Foxx on the Wire podcast. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everybody tuning into Foxx on the Wire, and welcome to episode number 65, a very special episode today, focusing on a very important album turning 30 years old today, as a matter of fact. And we're going to dive deep into this album with one of our good friends, Luciano Alvaro. Welcome, Luch.
G'day, Craig. Lovely to see you again, and welcome everyone in podcast land.
What's going on, my friend?
Same old that everyone else is dealing with, man. Living in, the good old, one of the most livable cities in the world. Who knows anymore now? Yeah.
Now the most locked down city now.
Actually, yeah, we hold the Guinness record for that now, don't we? So yeah, and many more to come. Many more days to come. So yeah,
no doubt.
Look, as like all great Victorians, we try to keep our chin up, our heads up, try to keep it high. It's a shit fight out there, but we're doing our best. Come on, let's get out of this rut. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here today. We're going to try and focus on something positive because, admittedly, things are very flat, to say the least, at the moment. So we need positive things to focus on, and the year 1991 is something you and I have always talked about a lot, and the amount of great albums that were released in that year. So obviously being 2021, a lot of those albums are turning 30, and it just so happens today, September 24th, 1991, one of those highly influential albums was released. And which album are we talking about, Luch?
We are talking about one of the most influential albums of my entire existence. Where would I be without this album? We are talking Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magik album. There it is. On this day, 1991. How about that? We didn't. None of this was planned. It all just kind of happened that we decided to do it on this day. So it's great. It's a good feel. The stars aligned, and here we are, happily going to be talking about this classic album. It's great music, and what it has done from a whole music, pop cultural or mainstream, influence from its release and to where it is now.
Well, it's a massive album. What is it, like 17 songs? I mean, huge album. And just to give you some perspective, on that same day in 1991, September 24th, there was another massive album that changed the landscape of music forever. That was Nirvana's Nevermind, released on the same day as this.
How about that, eh?
And there was a couple of other honourable mentions. Soundgarden's Badmotorfinger, same day.
Same day, wow, yeah.
Yeah, couldn't believe it. Bryan Adams, Waking Up the Neighbours. And yesterday, which was September 23rd, it was Primal Scream's Screamadelica, the Pixies' Trompe le Monde, and Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 on September 17. Ozzy Osbourne, No More Tears, September 17, and there's heaps more. So it was just not only a massive year, but September in particular, a massive month.
Hell yeah! I'm going to throw one in there, one that I posted up on all my socials yesterday. So I'm going to give whether it has any relevance or significance to the overall landscape. But Europe's Prisoners in Paradise album. That's an album that's near and dear to my heart, so I'm throwing that in there. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Oh, it's just what happened in 1991. Obviously, a lot of these bands probably recorded some of this in 1990 possibly, so just the start of that decade was just monstrous.
It's just crazy. Like the list, I mean, you gave me a whole before we talked about this, you gave me this. We'll do an album from 1991. Here's the short list. Went for about 3 days. I was like, oh my god! Like the albums on the other, I hadn't even thought about. Not just because of we always hear about Chili's, Soundgarden's, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, or I guess the kind of grunge rock kind of stuff. But there was a massive list of like the pop albums on there as well. I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, geez, it was all those other ones that you just kind of think about, because the rock was was so prevalent and dominant within, and the transition of that time as well, of where the rock landscape was going.
Yeah, I mean, this Chili Peppers album sounds a lot different to everything else that was released. It's totally different to the Black Album, totally different to Slave to the Grind, Use Your Illusion albums by Guns N' Roses, Nevermind. I mean, Nevermind and Blood Sugar Sex Magik, well, worlds apart, I would think. So, but it was just such a amazing time for music, and for a lot of these bands that I think were their biggest albums, and a lot of them are still around today. Metallica, that's still the Black Album, that's still their biggest album. Dare I say this is probably still the Chili's biggest album. Slave to the Grind, Skid Row, that's still their biggest album.
Yep.
So it must have been something in the water around that time. I don't know.
It's just, who knows? But man, if you can carve up a list, look up, for all listeners out there, just type in, just Google 1991 in music. Look at the list of albums on there and just listen. Just pick them out and just listen to what amazing tunes came out or albums just came out that year. Man, you're in for an absolute feast. Yeah.
And it was at a time where the whole musical landscape was changing. A lot of grunge had kicked in, and it was just about to be kicked in the face with Nevermind's released today 30 years ago, so that was going to change things even more. But yeah, the whole landscape was kind of shifting, which is really interesting.
I think it came at the right time as well, because you could see where that the whole hair metal scene was going. It had its day, from the mid 80s, and going on and on and on, and then it was just becoming this copycat league. The bigger the hair, the bigger the makeup, the bigger the video clip, but the songs were just getting so diluted. It was essentially that scene was. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I love the hair metal scene.
Me too.
I really, we love it all. It's just good music is good music. But as much as many of those older heads who they're still crying the day hair metal died. I think it's a great thing that Nirvana had come in and just basically. I reckon actually they put the nail in the coffin, because I think those bands were starting to fade away, and they were just kind of hanging around doing their thing. They still had some good music, but it was just basically oversaturating, and it was just eating itself. So for something like Nirvana to come in and basically just say, you know what, we're gonna put you to sleep now. That's it, and it was it. It was over, essentially, like that, just like that. Smells like Teen Spirit. See you later. Over.
Yeah, and you hear a lot of the guys from those 80s sort of hair metal bands. They talk about when they heard Smells Like Teen Spirit on the radio, they're like, "Oh, that's it. Our careers are over."
Yeah,
imagine the impact of that, and sort of realizing that at that time, and Smells Like Teen Spirit is still such a massively powerful song,
huge.
Of all the songs that get saturated on radio airplay, like Enter Sandman and ones that just get repeated daily over and over and over. Like Smells Like Teen Spirit for me is still holds its power, and I can still listen to that without feeling like, oh, I've heard this song a million times. Like I can't listen to it again. Sweet Child of Mine by Gunners, it just gets played so often on the radio. It's like, oh, I can't hear this song anymore. But Teen Spirit. Oh, Under the Bridge, which we'll cover today. That's one I can't listen to anymore because it's a great song though.
You know what I've found? And look, I'm the same. Look, a lot of us are, look, all my favorite artists, I've found that those songs that were so popular and, that have been just played to death, you got your Spotify, your CDs or whatever you're listening to. It's like, I can skip that one. I've heard it enough. Yeah, I'm going to go to the next song now. Sometimes you just have to kind of think, you know what? I'm going to listen to this song, whatever it might be. Let's just say Sweet Child of Mine, for example. And I'm going to listen to it like I did when I'm going to put myself in the mindset when I first heard it. think of the memory. Go back in time. That's it there, and you kind of appreciate it more again because of how you realize how that made you feel when you heard that song. I'm starting to swing it that way a lot more now.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like it's making me feel kind of warm and fuzzy because I'm like, oh man, my childhood, what I was doing at the time, obviously living at home with my parents, or I was playing heaps of basketball, or I remember playing this PlayStation game, whatever it might be. It just kind of I kind of go back into simpler times. I bring it back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was so much music to ingest. We had all these bands that had been around for a little while, and you were just discovering. Like I got into Guns N' Roses, and then on the back of that, I got into Motley. I got into Skid Row, and it's all this new music, or new to me music, that I was discovering, and it's just a rabbit hole. And it was the same with, Nirvana. I think I got into first. Then I went back to Soundgarden. Oh, then you got Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots.
Love your grunge.
The Pixies. They're just amazing where this stuff takes you from one band to the next. And there was just so much for us growing up in the 90s to ingest and fucking
the way
grab
that
hold
you find
of.
it. That's it. And the way in which you found it as well. Like, I mean, obviously 30 years ago, I'll probably go more towards, not even 30 years ago. It was probably around the mid-90s, when you probably start, working your first part-time job and all that kind of stuff, and you can actually go out and afford the music, afford the CDs and all that.
Yeah.
But, that whole experience of, seeing it on, video hits or, that's, before, or if you had Foxx, say, Channel V, whatever it might be back then. But then going down to your local store, and there were many of them, your Sandy's, HMVs, Brushes, whatever it might be, and couldn't wait to get in the car, go down to the plaza, the shopping center, whatever, and, go, flick through. Oh, I got it. Yes. I got this. How good was that feeling? I got the CD now. Yeah, $30 in 1996,
Yep. Yeah, $29.95.
I had to work 3 weeks just to get that CD, But again, you think about that and what the music meant to you back then growing up, and because it meant so much to you that you were willing to bust your ass, whatever part-time job, or do your chores around the house, or you had your birthday money or whatever it might be, and travel down to the shop and flick through and to hold it, it's like that whole, the holy prize you've got there, and you get home, or you throw it in your Discman, and you just feel like it was your world. That was it, and it meant so much. And that's why I think a lot of music, like especially, I guess to us, I hate to say it, older heads, it means so much to us because of the experience we have of that music, of how we attain the music. It wasn't just, wake up in the morning, go on my phone, go on Spotify, there's your discography, It was a bit more kind of heartfelt. And that's, I think, for our generation, you and I especially, like we're talking about this 1991 release and these other releases we're talking about, we were part of that generation there, where it meant so much to us. And, you're almost envious of your friends, like when they had the album and you didn't, It's like, oh man, you got the album, and they make you jealous, because I got the CD that you want, you can borrow it when I'm done, man, I was like, come on, man, hurry up.
I mean, we used to jump on a train and go to Greensboro Plaza, go to Sanity and grab the album. So it was like a day out, grab some lunch, and hang out with your friends and go and get these CDs together. And I remember our mutual friend Jared, he had Nirvana's Nevermind before me.
Yep.
And we got into it together, and then I had to wait till Christmas to get my own copy, and it felt like an eternity. But it was you're not just waking up in the morning and getting an email in your inbox from the band reminding you that the album's out. You actually sought that information yourself. You jumped on a train or in the car or whatever, and made the effort to go and get it. So
that's what it was. Yeah, there was no information superhighway, was there? It was.
Nah.
It was. You were really digging. You really had to. There was so much. There was a lot more tangible to it.
Yep. And you had the artwork, you had the CD booklet and everything. Like, it was just the whole package. And I think, I mean, I still get like that. Like if I love an album, I'll go and buy probably the vinyl these days, and just to have it.
I think that's becoming more of that trend because I think a lot more people are starting to cotton on more towards the fact that this is a possession now, and it's part of your furniture. Your record player is essentially record vinyl, whatever you want to call it, is essentially part of your furniture now. It looks cool. It's a nice big packet, big casing that it comes in. Looks amazing, and it's something you can have on display. It looks great on display in your house. Like a whole bunch of just kind of CDs flopping around everywhere. You've got this nice piece of art because essentially that's what it is, and people are appreciating that more again. But even just the sound quality on your vinyl as well is so much better as well. You get you can build you can build your vinyl setup. With your pin, your speakers, your amplifier. You can customize that so it becomes a bit more hands-on again, and the music itself becomes a bit more appreciated because you are appreciating not just the songs but the actual production and the sound involved within that recording.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bit of a collection going downstairs. You've probably seen it, but I will probably listen more on Spotify, but I still like to have the record. Spotify and that is great for the car because you were probably like me. You had all these broken CD cases and scratched CDs in your car and folders of CDs. It was a nightmare. But now it's all on Spotify, which is great. But I still like to go and buy the album and have it and know that I've got it and appreciate it in that way as well.
I know that you're still supporting the artist.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's get into some Blood Sugar Sex Magik. So this album was recorded between May and June of 1991 at the mansion magician Harry Houdini once lived in.
That's correct.
Which was suggested by the producer Rick Rubin. He believed it would enhance their creative output, and the band basically stayed there for the duration of the recording, aside from Mr. Chad Smith.
Yep, that's correct. Yes.
Who refused to stay there.
He believed, I think he felt it was, did he say it was haunted? Or
yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, it's funny. He actually didn't live far from there as well.
Yeah.
So I think he was only about 20 minutes from there, and he had his wife. I don't know if he's still with the wife or whatever, but he was married. I know he was married back then. So it was probably just easy for him to get away and kind of decompress and be away from the guys, because I can imagine, geez, I would hate to be stuck in a place for a month or two with my, as much as I love my mates, I need to have a break from them, eventually. So it probably just worked out better in that way. But I know John Frusciante felt the same way. In that place, he felt there were ghosts, but he felt they were friendly ghosts.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's just typical John's brain working. So that's nice. I like that. But that mansion, Harry Houdini lived in there. Yeah, pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and if people haven't seen the doco behind you there, Funky Monks, you get a pretty good, you get a great look at the place because that sort of shows or documents the recording of the album, and it does look like an amazing place to record an album and to live there and hang out. But yeah, Chad Smith thought the place was haunted, so he'd ride his motorcycle there every day, and I think he said it sort of cleared his head every day, which I understand. I'd probably be like him too. I don't think I'd want to stay in the same place as Flea and Anthony Kiedis and stuff like that. I'd probably like to go home and get some fresh air myself. And
absolutely.
But yeah, riding through the Hollywood Hills on his bike. Yeah, it looks amazing. I'd just love to do that anyway. I had a big fascination with LA and
of course you
Hollywood, into the whole Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue story. And, the Chili Peppers were a big part of that too. Not the same music scene as such, but that whole LA thing and that whole LA feeling.
The vibe, yeah.
The vibe. So, since I think the Chili Peppers were the first band to record at the Houdini Mansion, and I think afterwards there were more bands that actually went to record there. Chili Peppers went back to record Stadium Arcadium, Audio Slave Out of Exile, Slipknot Volume 3, Linkin Park's Minutes to Midnight, and I think Marilyn Manson recorded at least part of his album Hollywood. So after Chili Peppers did it there were other bands that sort of followed suit and went there too.
Absolutely. I mean, you listen to the huge production that they pulled out of that place. Geez, who wouldn't want to check that out? I mean, the production on this album is just so iconic. It's just one of those things. I mean, you know, again, you talk about the songs themselves, but then when you dig further into it, you think, man, listen to that drum sound, especially that drum sound. My God,
it's
man.
great.
Man, I could have that on my albums. That'd be amazing. And just huge sound overall. But again, we talk about the way in which they created it as well, like with a lot of the soundscapes as well. I mean, because you've got all this massive space in this open house. I mean, that allowed that more kind of, you know, resonant sound, open tone overall. And it's just, you hear it today and you kind of go, God, it holds up. The production isn't dated in the slightest.
No, the drums sound great, and obviously the bass as well, and the guitars as well. I mean, the whole album. But I think you're right. The drum sound doesn't sound dated at all.
Sounds like a real drum kit. That's the thing. Yeah. It sounds like a real live sounding drum kit. But even like if you've seen the one thing I really love from that Funky Monks DVD there is when they're recording a lot of the, I guess we call it auxiliary percussion, where they're like, you know, featured a lot in like Breaking the Girl, when they're playing a lot of these of like tubs and pots, or you know, big cans and things, and they're getting all these crazy effects out of it. And like the first time I'd seen that, listening to the song like Breaking the Girl, I'd never really heard it before. I never really picked up on it. And then when, you know, you watch the DVD and you see they're doing all this, you know, this kind of crazy, you know, adding all this crazy just auxiliary percussion sounds, you go, oh, okay, wow. Okay, I hear they're playing it to the song. And then you go back and listen to the song on the recording. I'm like, oh, there it is. Like, wow, that's actually really cool the way in which they record it. Who would have thought of that? I'd like to know whose idea that was, because I can't find. It could have been a collective mindset, but I'd like to know who said we should do this and this and this to get that.
Yeah, you don't. Oh, it is in the mix of the song, but when you go back and watch that DVD and see that scene, you realize how much extra percussion, like pots and pans and all sorts of shit, they were playing in there, and it sounds great. Like, it sounds awesome, and you can hear that big live room sound. Same with Chad Smith just bashing on the drums in various scenes. You can hear how good the drums just sound in those rooms of that house.
And don't forget, it's in a house. I mean, you go to a recording studio. What's the one thing recording studios don't have on their walls?
Don't have? Oh, windows.
Windows.
Yeah, big windows.
You're playing in a house that has got, you know, you try to avoid that. I mean, you're trying to, you know, you go to a studio because you want to have a very secluded kind of, you know, sound, you know, kind of, you know, get compressing any sort of reflection or overtone, whatever it might be. And this place is just wild. It's just an open, it is literally just a house, and they're using every bit of that open overtone, open soundscape to create this. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I guess that's the same with, they often talk about John Bonham's, when he recorded his drums at like the bottom of stairs. I can't remember where it was exactly. I'd have to check that again, but that would have been like an open sort of area similar to the Houdini house at the bottom of the stairs, just to get that big drum live room sort of sound. So it's not in a dead recording studio with no windows or anything like that.
And no vibe whatsoever. I do find it amazing that more bands don't. Like, I mean, we understand the magic of this, the magic of getting, you know, stepping outside of the studio and recording in a house or a hall or even a cathedral, or whatever it might be. You know, the magic that you can create. I'm so surprised that it isn't actually done more often than what we know of. A lot of it is, it's recorded this studio, that studio, this studio, whatever. But man, let's go for something bigger. Let's go for something that doesn't sound or feel as generic as the next album. Let's go big. Let's make something unique of this.
Because you need to let the drums breathe, don't you?
Well,
like with
absolutely.
open space, and you don't really want a dead room sound. I guess it depends what sound you're going for. You know, not every album's going to want that big open rock sound or whatever. But I think that's where drums sound their best, and this album proves that.
Absolutely.
And they doesn't sound dated. So before they started work on this album, the band wanted to free themselves of their label EMI and sought other labels to buy out their deal. While initially dealing with Sony/Epic, a phone call from Mo Austin eventually led to Warner Brothers, who I think ended up releasing this album.
Yep.
And then they sought out producer Rick Rubin from there, feeling he would be a good producer to oversee their next album. And then obviously Rick Rubin invited them to record at the mansion in the Hollywood Hills, which would have been amazing. And again, the footage out of the Funky Monks DVD, you know, they definitely were living and breathing that album every day, and I think that showed in the final results. And their sort of musical style changed from their previous album, Mother's Milk. Are you very familiar with Mother's Milk album? Did you get into that?
Mother's Milk is actually my favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers album.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I'm kind of into it. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I'm a long-standing Chili Peppers fan. Like if you met me when I was in grade 6, 1995, so everything up to that point was up to that One Hot Minute album. Yeah, like they were my life. Red Hot Chili Peppers were my absolute life. I already had all the CDs. I worked every summer hour that I could at my parents' supermarket, making $5 it was a day or an hour. I think it was an hour. Yeah. And I would just piss it away on buying Chili Peppers CDs. That's where my collection really started to hit when I was 12. Was it 12? Yeah, 12 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You're a drummer. For those who don't know, I know you've been on the podcast a few times, but we may have a few first-time listeners. You're an amazing drummer in your own right. Now, was it Chad Smith that drew you to the Chili Peppers, or was it just
Chad Smith package? Well, I was no. It was just the music at the time. I hadn't played an instrument. I was an air guitarist or an air drummer. Okay, I just loved music. I fell in love with this. Red Hot Chili Peppers were the first band I could say that I truly fell in love with. Obviously, I had other bands that I enjoyed. I enjoyed listening to Ugly Kid Joe and the Bon Jovis and all that kind of stuff back then. But I fell in love with Red Hot Chili Peppers for the music. Then I fell in love with drumming, and it was mainly from Chad Smith as the main influencer for me to be a drummer. So that was that. So yes, definitely. To the question, it kind of answered it in the reverse there. So because it was the music first, and then it was like Red Hot Chili Peppers, hearing the drumming in the Red Hot Chili Peppers music. So therefore, I still owe all my credit and all my influence to Chad Smith, leading me on the path to become a drummer. So thank you, Chad.
And that's actually quite common. I've known a few drummers that sort of credit Chad Smith as probably their favorite drummer. Yep. So he obviously has a big influence on the drumming community.
Absolutely. I think
to say the least.
Because he's cool as well. He visually he's a cool drummer. He's got a lot of attitude. He's loud. Yeah. He can play the hell out of the instrument. He's got sick grooves. It's very accessible. You know, I don't think any of his playing it was ever over the top. Yeah. But it was different enough, you know, from just laying down the guy could just play, man. And like I said, like when you hear him speak in an interview or we just watch him live, just like you just can't be drawn to him. He's kind of this loud. It's almost like the big friendly giant kind of thing. Like he's kind of loud in your face, but he seems very warm at the same time. You know, so I fell in love with that. I was like, this guy, I want to play. Mum, Dad, I want to learn drums. This guy, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time since I read this. I reckon I must have been don't even know. It would have been in my 20s. I can't remember when it was released, but from memory, there was a funny bit in here where they talk about when they auditioned Chad. And I think they were hanging shit on him, weren't they? Like what he was wearing and I think his haircut. Can you remember? It just sort of came back to me then.
It's been a while. I know a little bit of that story, but I don't remember this bit. But I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Anthony was sort of talking about how Chad turned up, what he was wearing and his haircut, and they were giving him shit about it. But obviously when he started playing, it changed everything and it didn't matter. But yeah, Chad looks like a pretty cool guy. And I always found it funny in recent years, the comparisons of how he looks with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And then they had a drum off and everything, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was funny as.
It was on one of those late night shows. Was it Letterman or Fallon or one of those? Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, God, it was great. Because so even for myself, I'm like, which one's which here? Yeah, you're kind of still trying to figure it out. And it's funny, like you look at it, like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what's Will Ferrell's drumming was that was all pre-recorded. You could unfortunately tell that he wasn't playing that.
Yeah,
but it was so cool to watch. Oh my God, you just gotta love it again because you got obviously Will Ferrell's comedian actor. Sorry, I couldn't get that out then. And then Chad Smith, obviously rock star, rock drummer, but he's got such a similar personality, just a fun, cool. Silly, it was so good. Their personalities were so alike.
I thought that was great that they did that. And if anyone hasn't seen it, like jump on YouTube and search Chad Smith and Will Ferrell drum off. And, I think they do a bit of an interview from memory as well. And I think Will pretends to be Chad and that sort of thing. It's pretty funny. It's very good.
Oh, that's cool. It was just so good. Yeah. So very engaging. That's how I found Chad. He brought me into, and you talk about influences in your life. Like I talk about, this album being an influence in my life, but a soul member being an influence in my life. I mean, if I wasn't drumming, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
So I wonder. So it just takes, that's where art music is just such a has such drive and influence towards someone's I guess career path, and where it can lead you in life. And 30 years, well, for this album, 30 years later, I first heard the album in 95, so I'll say 26 years later. I still do it because of him. I've got a huge. I remember if you saw it when you popped over a few months ago. That big Chad Smith Pearl drums flag that I got sitting in the corner. I've got that sitting right next to my desk. As basically like a shrine, essentially, because it's like never forget kind of where it started. When I see that, I still feel that way. So it's very sentimental, to me.
So was Blood Sugar Sex Magik your first Chili Peppers album?
My first, I believe my first Chili Peppers album. My first Chili Peppers album wasn't really an album. Was the What Hits compilation. So that was my first introduction into Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
I got that in like 1994. I got it. Yeah. I think it's around the time it would have been around the time it was released. Anyway, I know my man just got it for Under the Bridge. That's pretty much. I think that was all I knew from the band at the time, and but listened to the whole thing. It was amazing, and went from there. I believe after that, I think I ended up getting One Hot Minute after in 1995. That was the first thing. Yeah, because that's when I was really starting into it. Now you're hearing all the releases from that album, and then after that album, that's when I started buying. That's when I started. Really getting into in 1995 was I started buying up the shop basically. So I think I believe it would have probably been the second or third because I think I bought Mother's Milk and then I'd gotten onto Blood Sugar Sex Magik. I think it was a price thing at the time. It might have been $5 difference, but again when you're 12 years old making sweet FA. You just buy what you get your hands on. And my One Hot Minute was my Blood Sugar was a double disc. It was that. I'm not going to sell you short here. It was this. It was called the Plasma Shaft. Here we go.
Oh.
So, and it come with this bonus CD.
Oh shit!
And it was the unreleased tracks on there and some other stuff. So it had some live stuff on there. So mixes of Give It Away, If You Have to Ask, Nobody Weird Like Me live version, Sikamakanico, which was an unreleased track. It was actually on the Wayne's World soundtrack.
Right.
Just a whole bunch of other stuff. So it was this, and inside of it was that as well. So it was a nice little extra. It was good.
Never seen that before.
I bought that, 1995. I bought that. I haven't seen it. Not that I'm looking for CDs much these days, but I remember buying that back then and never seeing it again. So I'm pretty proud to have that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing. I actually can't remember what my first Chili Peppers album was myself. I got a feeling it was One Hot Minute.
There you go. See? Same era, you and I.
It could have been this, but I got a feeling it was One Hot Minute, because what was that, 1994 or 5, was it?
95, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that, and then I probably went back to this, and then obviously Californication, and so on. Actually, Stadium Arcadium became one of my favourite Chili Peppers albums. It was at a time when I was going through some stuff, and I remember it was that album that I just really held on to, and see the second album, which is bloody escaped me. Those two albums, I lived on for like
their second album.
Yeah, see the second album.
See the second album, right.
See the second album, yeah.
Right, yeah. So,
with Remedy and a few others on there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But obviously, this is a big album, and it's a big one to unpack for us here today.
Great. Let's talk.
This was John Frusciante's second album with the Chili's. Yep. He didn't play on Mother's Milk, did he?
Frusciante? Yeah, him and Chad. That's where they were first introduced.
Right, yeah. And he replaced the founding guitarist Hillel Slovak, who passed away from a heroin overdose in 1988. And this was a big album full of sexual innuendos and references to drugs and all that sort of cool stuff. And I think that really comes out in the lyrics and the songs, which I definitely appreciate. So what's the album kicks off with The Power of Equality.
What a great song.
I think it's like the perfect opener for the album. It sort of sets the tone for the rest of the album. So I think they picked a winner there, putting that at the start of the album.
No doubt. It's got a great groove. It rocks. Lyrically fantastic. I remember using that song for one of my year 8 humanities assignments about equality. I think it was something to do with racism. I can't remember what it was about.
Yeah,
but we had to use a song as well. Part of this humanities thing is like, they said, it was, do a thing. And if you can find a piece of art or music or video clip of something, bring that in, and so I brought the song in as my, I guess the anthem to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it attacks racism and equality. And I think they give a bit of a hat tip to Public Enemy in the third verse there, where the lyrics are like, I've got tapes, I've got CDs, I've got my Public Enemy. So a little bit of a hat tip to them, I think, which is pretty cool. But I really like the lyrics. My name is Peace, this is my hour. Can I get just a little bit of power? I think that's great.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. That's killer. Yeah. Oh, just so good. Lyrical poet. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a great opener. And I reckon Flea's bass, I mean, the whole album sounds great, but in that song in particular, I think his bass sounds fantastic, just the way he sort of plays that and, sort of lets John do his thing over the top with a pretty sort of basic guitar part. But
it is actually a pretty
yeah.
It's just a grooving song. There's nothing really changes a whole lot in the song. It's just keeping it just to the point. Just a good solid kind of engaging tempo. I guess almost commercial kind of tempo, and structurally nothing wild and crazy, but just gets a good message across. I remember hearing it for the first time and going, yeah, this is it. Yeah, I like this album already.
Yeah. And I think, I wouldn't say the simplicity in the music, like it's not simple, but this song gives a bit more room for Anthony to sort of sing over and be a bit more overt with his singing.
That's right. Let that be more of the focus in it. Yeah. But still, I mean, the parts that they're playing are pretty neat. Yeah. It's not just basic, eighth notes and just, basic rockwood. There's groove, there's purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think some of the other songs, like, I'd imagine as a singer, like, it'd be pretty hard to find how to sing over that sort of stuff. So I think, he's a bit, he hasn't got the greatest voice in the world, but I think, maybe he doesn't get enough credit sometimes to be able to sing over some of that music they put in front of him. Like, it wouldn't be the easiest music to find a melody to sing to. So I think he does a really, really great job with that a lot of the time on every album. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, that whole kind of rap rock kind of thing that he does there, but you still got to hold some sort of melody to it as well. It's not just rapping and spitting bars. He's actually he's moving through the music so well, but it seems so natural. I mean every album you hear up to from the first album up to that point there. I mean, it just seems so natural.
Yeah.
Whether it's something he just worked on or just, you see the way in which he works. He is very much a vibe kind of guy. He's just vibing on it. So, he makes it work. He makes it work. Yeah, quite simply.
And, as we see from that documentary, I think he recorded all his vocals in the bedroom that he stayed at the Houdini mansion there. He was just like by the window there, and he recorded all his vocal takes in there. So and it's good to watch him actually do that, like, because it's kind of like he's performing live. He's got his hands all over the mic and everything, and he's just basically singing live. So
I was going to say that's one thing. I think a lot of producers will say is they don't want you to go in there and be all jump around and kind of move like you are on stage. They want you to kind of just basically just deliver it, you know. And I think it does take a lot away from I guess what is essentially an organic process. I mean, you've got to feel it, And those guys are always vibing on it, He was always moving. He was he's moving in and out of the microphone and dancing around it and making it happen. And it sounds fantastic. It sounds like a real singer, Forget your auto tunes and all that crap there. This is a dude singing top to bottom, in his way. So, all fine by me.
I like the way it was great the way they recorded those vocals, because I know from experience, going into a studio, not being able to sort of grab hold of the mic and anchor yourself or the mic stand or whatever, like you just got to pretty much stand still, not knock anything. It can feel a bit sterile, and it sort of takes away from the performance a little bit, I think. So the way he did it, I thought it was great, and I'd actually like to try that myself.
Well, why not?
Just to relax a bit and like just loosen your body up. So
you need more real. Why not? You are recording. This is art.
Yes.
You need to, as an artist, you need to be yourself. You need to be free. I understand there may need to be some sort of limitation somewhere, but at the same time, I mean, if you chop out, even half of what the character and the personality and the individuality of the artist, then that's a result you're going to get. You're going to get a half-cut performance.
Yeah, so, especially
I think Rick Rubin was very. Having said that, I know we'll get past this first song eventually. But so they were with their last producer, with the Mother's Milk album. That was actually, they did kind of play it a bit safe because they were forced to. They were restricted a little bit. I love the album. I think hands down, it's a freaking amazing album. But some of the riffs were a bit more simplified because they want to get a big fat tone, more metallic tone for John. They even, I guess, kind of in the way in which, some of what's his name, Kiedis's phrasing was to be done as well. They wanted to play it a bit more safe because they wanted to get a bit more commercial appeal to the album. So they did feel restricted. So I think they were happy to kind of break away from that. Who was it? I forgot who they were. What was the label they were with? Sorry, I've forgotten. Was it EMI? Yeah. And then when they signed in with Sony, that's where, so more so the point of Rick Rubin, working with Rick Rubin, he allowed freedom, the freedom to be you,
Yeah.
So, and you see it in there. He was extremely, influential, obviously being the producer of that recording. But I mean, he was driving that. He was driving that individuality and letting the guys be the guys. They just let them be. Yeah.
Well, a band like that, you wouldn't be able to, what am I trying to say? Well, Kiedis especially, when I imagine him singing, I imagine him live and he's sort of, all over the mic like we see him do. So if you tried to put him in a studio, so don't touch the mic, just fucking stand there and sing, you'd imagine it might not come out the way it's supposed to and really capture what they're about. So
he'd be busting, that's it.
Yeah. I envision him sort of holding the mic like he does live and, he's just fucking laying into the song sort of thing.
Owns it. Just own it. That's how you should approach it all the time. As long as you're doing, you're not doing fly kicks and jumping across the room. I mean, come on, that's such an important thing with recording. Loose, relax, be you, feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the second track, If I Have to Ask, which sort of plays directly off the ending of The Power of Equality. So there's no sort of break, is there? Sort of continues
go straight
on.
I love that. Hearing that for the first time, I'm not sure if it had changed songs. Yeah, yes, it indeed did. Yeah,
such a simple little part, and this was the fifth and final single from the album, which was released in '93. And if you hear at the end of the song there, where Frusciante finishes the solo, you can hear the production crew sort of applauding him.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Again, live. Again, there you go. We're talking about give yourself that live feel. It's like, okay, they've just recorded whoever's in the background there, just clapping along, and that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool song, and you can like tell the fun they're sort of having within this song. Dare I say, all of them were sort of singing that chorus bit in the falsetto voice.
Yeah.
They're all just standing around together singing it. But I was surprised it was a single, actually, this song. I didn't realise it was the fifth single.
It's actually a great song. I mean, as a fifth song, we'll get to the ones that, were prior to that. But, it is a great groove, catchy song. It's got, another, sexual innuendo is pretty much the whole album is.
Yeah.
But just a good song with a good groove, very commercial sounding, it doesn't matter what the lyrics are. It's just a great sounding song. And it doesn't surprise me this was I could see where it would be the fifth single, because the ones that were, prior to it were definitely absolute ass kickers.
Yeah.
But great song. So good fun, good jam. Yeah, good times.
Yep. And the the third track, Breaking the Girl, which is, it's a classic and, probably one of my favourite songs, not just off this album, but favourite Chili Pepper songs, it would definitely be in my top 10. It's just a great song. Yeah. Partly because I really like the acoustic guitar, John's acoustic guitar tone there that he plays. It's just a great song. It kind of reminds me a bit of Daughter by Pearl Jam. Like it's got no correlation, but just in my thing, just the kind of cool, the way the guitars were recorded. I just really like it. And this was the fourth single off the record, which dropped on July 30, 1992. So, and like we talked about earlier, in the documentary, you can they sort of show the percussion that they were playing for this song.
Yeah, there's a
you can
lot
hear
of
in the middle of
involvement.
the song there. Yeah,
There's just a lot of stuff going on. Even the feel of the song. I mean, I'm talking from a musical perspective here. Like the feel is in like a 6/8 feel, like a triplet kind of feel. There's with all the extra stuff going on. I remember studying this song back in the old days and going, oh, that's just an interesting feel, and the way in which he's phrasing his vocals as well is really moving. What do you call it? Just vocal phrasing in general is just so kind of smooth the way it is. With I think the drums are pretty involved in it. There's a lot of the actual drum set itself that is. With kind of the big fills that are going on in the song. It's very syncopated and bounces around a lot. That's why I was like, I remember trying to figure out what's the actual time signature of this song, and it was like, oh, okay, it's in a 6/8 or 12/8 kind of feel there. So
yeah,
and then I got the drums and then adding, we're talking prior, all that extra percussion, and like I said, I hadn't stood out to me until I'd seen that. The documentary there. So it's got so many highlights and so many layers of stuff happening. It's a very unique sounding song.
I think so.
Yeah, especially with that acoustic, going on in there. It's layers upon layers, and it's a huge sounding song, but everything kind of just sits so well.
And it's interesting too, like the bass line under that acoustic guitar, just the way Flea makes that work underneath the acoustic. And they really, really gel together well, those two parts. If you listen to the bass under the acoustic guitar, it's pretty amazing what he's doing. Like, I can't imagine any other bass player would sort of think to do that sort of part.
It's about having a sense of melody rather than just kind of wanking off. And that's the thing. That's what it's about. It's he's playing to within the scale, or to the mode, whatever it is that he's doing, and riffing on it without it just sounding a lot, like you're saying, like someone else, depending on who else it could sound pretty mushy or just overdone and out of place. But he's just everything he does sits so well to accommodate it.
Yeah, it's right in the pocket, and
that's it.
John's guitar sounds pretty loose, like it's a very open sounding guitar, and I think that's why I was sort of making reference to Pearl Jam's Daughter. Like, it just sounds like a very open sort of acoustic guitar sound. But yeah, Flea fits right in the pocket underneath that, and it's pretty amazing. So with the 6/8 timing, like how do you work that out? Can you explain that to us?
Oh, it's basically so it's like, if I'm going to go to bare bones, it's six. You're playing 6/8 notes to the bar. So it's basically if you're counting it, like basically it's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And turning your feelings are burning your drinking the girl. That's it. And then obviously there's a bunch of triplets and 16th notes being thrown over it. So it's sounding a bit more complex than just kind of counting to the meter there. But it's like a triplet. It's essentially a triplet feel. But there you go, something like that. So it's essentially like a triplet ballad kind of feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So you can split into subdivisions of 3 if you want to. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It's great. Yeah. I don't think they have many. I'm putting myself on the spot here. I might be jumping the gun, but I don't think they have many songs in that time signature. So that's why I think it's quite a unique song. Lyrically, maybe not, because it's just sex again. But musically, it's very, very involved.
I think lyrically, I was looking at that earlier. Kiedis wrote the lyric about Carmen Hawke, a model that he dated, and again, like if you read this, he talks about a lot about the girls that he's dated. And this song describes a tumultuous breakup as he severed their relationship, thus breaking the girl. Not that she did anything wrong, he just had to cut her loose. So that's what this song's kind of about.
No, I've figured it from another perspective, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. But definitely one of my favourite Chili songs, and highly recommend checking out the documentary again, just to see this scene where they're sort of belting on all the percussion pots and pans. And what did they have in there? It was pots and pans. It was sort of hard to make out some of the. They had just
like just
did they have like an engine block in there or something?
I don't know. The thing because it's really kind of the thing that Flea's kind of smacking around. You can't really tell because the camera's like just kind of so up close.
Yeah.
You just see this big, it just looks like a big cylinder of some sort. I don't know. And just beating the shit out of it, and it's just boom. So you really hear those on the recording. That's one thing that probably stood out more. But all the other undertones that go ding 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 ding, that kind of stuff there, like that's the stuff I hadn't really picked up on until I'd seen the DVD and listened to the recording. So just random metal. We'll call it that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they did that. It was similar to Spoon Man or Soundgarden. I think they had what was it? I think some guy on the street in Seattle that just sort of plays this percussion-y spoons and things. I'd have to read up again on this, but I think they actually brought him in and recorded him in that song, and he even gets a bit of a solo in the middle of the song there, which is quite cool. Yeah. So, percussion can come from anything, as you would know as a drummer. Like you can use pretty much anything really to give it a bit extra flavor and taste, which is kind of cool.
Doesn't matter what you hit, mate. If you can keep it in time, you can get some sound and some dynamic out of it. Yeah, it's like I say to my students: as long as you've got something to hit, you've got no excuse not to practice.
True.
Yeah.
Even just your legs,
There you go, man.
Or a table, which I get in trouble a lot from my co-workers at work. I'm tapping away.
all about it. Well, that's it, and I mean, look, so many recordings, use suitcases or the walls, whatever it might be for actual sound or effect, So it just no excuse. If you got someone to hit, you're a drummer. There you go. You're a musician. Yeah. Okay.
That's it. And getting your feet working on the kick drum and the hi-hat's another story. That's something I can't do. So
I'll give you a couple of lessons when we open up, okay?
I would love that, actually. I would love that.
Wonderful.
Track number 4. What do we got for track number 4?
Track number 4. Is it I could have I'm sorry, I haven't got the list in front of me. Is it I could have lied? Is that the number?
Funky Monks.
Funky Monks. Oh, how still I should actually just get this track listing up. That'll probably make it a bit easier for me. Cool as. There we go.
Actually, this album, I realised if you played me a couple of the songs off this album, I wouldn't be able to guess the name of it.
Oh, okay.
I think because it's such a big album, such a vast album, there are a couple of songs on there. It could be just that I haven't listened to this album properly for a while.
There's a lot to digest. Understandably, like even sometimes I get some of the titles confused with other songs on this one. But this one definitely Funky Monks. So there are no monks in my band. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yep. So what do we got to say about this song? Which one is it?
There are no monks in my band. Yeah.
Can you hear that? Probably can't hear that, can you?
I can hear a little something, yeah.
Yeah, funky as.
It is.
Hence the title.
It's a bit of a brotherly song, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, makes sense. I don't know much about this one, admittedly.
Now, was this one actually a release? I'm not sure if this one was. This one wasn't a release, I don't think.
A single? No, don't
a single,
so.
Yeah.
No. But funky as, and probably not one of my favourites off the album personally, which is why I probably got nothing to. Yeah, but it's essential to the album, so definitely.
I think it's just, when I hear this one, again, this is in my head as well. Like any song you listen to, it's kind of lyrically what it means to you as someone. I always look at this one as kind of like well, they are the Funky Monks. That's their brotherhood, and basically when they were recording this album, that's what they were. They were in this isolated. They were just monks living in isolation. Yeah. I guess creating their own inner peace, or finding inner peace through said album. So that's how I look at it anyway, and that's what they were. They are the 4 Funky Monks.
Yeah. I mean, they were very young during the recording of this. John was like. Was he early 20s, John?
I think he was
21.
I think he was 20. Yeah, around 20? That. The other guys, I know Anthony was about late 20s, I think, about 28. I can't speak on the other guys, but I think Chad would have been. I think Chad was a bit younger. But yeah, look, they were in the 20s. Yeah, pretty. Oh man, I wish I wrote something this cool when I was in my 20s. Yeah. Doing all these classic albums and finding out the ages of these people, they make me feel so useless.
I know, me too, man. Like when
like we were talking about bloody New Jersey album, and writing that album and having to tour the world and having to be bloody political advocates, traveling to Russia. It's like, oh my god, what was I doing at 25 or 26?
Yeah. I know, man. I mean, when I found out Slash was like, he was about 22 when he recorded Appetite for Destruction. I mean, seriously, come on,
It comes a lot with. It does come a lot with. I guess your upbringing as well. I mean, like these guys are seeing a lot of this stuff at very young ages, and they're brought up a lot through it too. And even whether it be through a lot of hard times as well, and being in and out of possibly being in and out of homes, on the streets, wherever it might be.
Yeah.
So they've had or to a more influential side of growing up in a studio around music because of their parents being musicians and artists and theatre cats themselves, where it might be. So you're seeing that through that. I mean, what do? We went to school and learnt music, and then that's it.
Different lifestyle.
Different lifestyle. That's what it is, and I think that's what you make of it there. So but yeah, Funky Monks anyway is just one of those songs. I think it is about the boys, about all them and their togetherness. That's what I think. If anyone's got another answer out there, please consult this podcast. Foxx on the Wire. Yeah. So,
foxxonthewire at gmail.com. Hit us up.
One there you go.
Now the next track number 5, one of my favourites.
Now we're talking.
Suck My Kiss.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why is it one of your favourites?
I think like the band just sounds tight, like they always do, but obviously some songs bring that out a little more, just the way the riffs are constructed and that sort of thing. But I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it's punchy, this song. And I really appreciate that punch. Particularly like the way they alter the stabs after each chorus.
Yes.
Yeah, like each chorus is I think the first one's got 3 stabs. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. And then the next one 2. I'm not explaining it very well, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's very. You've got to have that. If I see a cover band doing that, you got to make sure. Hey, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
You make sure you all have the correct ones. All right? Don't butcher what we love. All right. So but it's cool. Yeah, I love how towards the end of spot on. That's a really good kind of musical dynamic pickup you just mentioned. Then yes.
Yeah, you go.
I was going to say this was one of the first songs I ever wanted to learn on drums.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I remember having my drum lessons and just learning how to play. Really learning at the time the basics of drumming. Because it was my first year. It was my first year learning drums in 1997. And then just being in love with the band. And I took it to my drum teacher on cassette. I had to record it from CD, tape record it from CD to cassette because he only had a cassette player in his room. I said, can we try and learn this song? And he's sitting there transcribing all this song, and I'm looking at a whole bunch of note values and rhythms that I haven't learned yet, a bunch of, combo 8s with 16s and whatever it might be. I'm thinking, I think it might be a little bit, at the moment, I might be a little bit in over my head here, trying to understand this. But it was good. It set me a challenge to kind of learn these rhythms faster. And I guess that was kind of validated kind of where I was going as far as, my love for what Chad was doing, because it was like, wow, this stuff on paper looks really complicated. So I'm really determined to try and understand these rhythms and these values and voicings, around the drum kit, as best as I can. It was inspiring, so just got to show that, the quality of the band. And like I said, nothing simple here. This is all
Yeah.
It's all funky business.
I guess for me, like, I was always more into riff-related music, you know, Metallica and that sort of thing. And this song in particular, Suck My Kiss, was more of a riffy sort of song. So straight away I sort of related to it. Not that I don't appreciate the other songs and the guitar work that John does, but this one was a bit more riff orientated and it was a bit easier for me to wrap my head around it. But yeah, I love how it's really sort of punchy. You know, the bass and the guitar just sound like one together. They sound amazing. And this was the third single from their album. And I think the video was a mashup of footage from the Funky Monks documentary.
Yes, it is.
Funky Monks documentary, yeah. So yeah, no, love this song. And I think Anthony Kiedis explained to Rolling Stone that the sexual overtures in this song were meant positively rather than crudely. So a romantic sexual song maybe.
Oh, Anthony Kiedis, the romantic, eh? Yeah.
But yeah, killer song. And this was one song, I think, where you'd have to get the tempo right. Like, this is one of those songs that I think by accident you could easily play it a lot faster and it might sort of kill the groove of the song. But I think they got the tempo. It's actually quite slow in a way if you think about it. I'd imagine playing this song faster myself for some reason.
Yeah, no, you want to let it sit. Yeah, that's about the tempo in a lot of songs is such an important thing. And
yeah,
you know, too fast, too slow. You know, it's about getting it just right. Yeah, you look at like with Metallica. You know, like which song? I'm trying to think which song it was now. Was it Sad But True?
Sad But True, yeah.
James wanted to really kick that thing up and kick really kind of, you know, chunk up the tempo on it. But then when they kind of brought it back to what you hear as the recording as it is now, and forever will be, it's like, yeah, that's how it should be. You got too fast, it sounds a bit silly. You know, some things can sound a bit rushed and a bit, and just the song loses itself. So, so this song, great groove, great feel, great tempo, everything falls into place nicely. Everything's great.
Spot on.
What a song. Huge song. And it was a third release, you said?
Third single, yeah.
Third single, sorry. Yep. There you go.
Yep. When was it released? I think it was in 1992. I think it reached the top 10 in Australia from what I can read. So, yeah, killer song.
Absolutely.
Killer song.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, one of the first I ever wanted to learn, so it was definitely one of my big influences, as a musician. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do we got up next?
One of the more kind of more lower, very more acoustic-y. Oh, there's drums in there too. So, but just more kind of slower. I Could Have Lied.
Yep. So yeah, not a lot of funk in this song.
No, it's just very kind of slow ballady. Not one of my favorites on the album. I still listen to when I listen to this album. I still go from start to finish. I like I guess the story of everything. But but not one that many people would talk about. This one.
Nah, probably my favorite part of this song. I like John's acoustic guitar, but I also like his guitar solo. It's like sort of dirty sort of guitar sound, and I think you can just sort of hear his soul coming out in that solo. It's just one of those really John-drenched soul solos, I think.
Oh, of course.
So that's probably my favorite part of the song. But bit different to the rest of the album.
It is, yeah. It really takes it's just a real kind of downturn. Not a downturn, but it's really just kind of coming down for a sec, let's just say. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And what do we got up next? We got Mellow Ship Slinky in B major.
Oh, man. First time I heard this track, man, I was like, yeah. That's all I could think was, yeah, I'm in love with it. Like just the first little that bam, 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 I'm like, put me on the next train to Funk City. My God. Yeah, that's all I had. Everything in, again, it's just another one of those songs where everything just kind of comes together nicely as far as, your tempo, your feel. Add a little bit of piano. Plays a little bit of some little kind of piano hits in there. Funky to no end, basically, with this one.
What's with the title? Do you know much about the title?
Absolutely not. No, I haven't gone into that. I never went to that far into that there.
Because I don't think it's actually in B major from what I've read. It's actually in D minor.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek fellowship slinky in B major. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing much kind of say about the song, but just you talked about, even like the what's he playing? Is it a Strat? He's a Strat that Frusciante plays, isn't it?
Yeah, a Telecaster.
Or is it a Telly?
A Telly, yeah. I think he mixes it up, but yeah, I think it's I can't remember from the documentary now. Could be a Strat, I think. You might be right.
Yeah, I know he loves his Fender, so that probably could have been a bit of a mash of both. But hearing, Flea's bass on this is just really just dominant in this one. Where he lays down his grooves in this one here. I was listening to the album today. I was caught up with a mate today. I had the album just going on, and I always look forward to hearing this song just kind of come up, because you just kind of sit back and just kind of you can't help but just kind of bob your head to it, because it's just got a great touch overall.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
It's musical. That's what it is. That's what you look for in songs. I mean, if you take them kind of lyrics out of something. I mean, I mainly, for me, I mainly listen to the musicality of it rather than the vocal side of it. You have to sell me on a big chorus. Just the music can just be, and the way the song moves can be good enough. And it's got all the hits and the dynamics on there. Chad plays a lot of his kind of funk, big hits with a lot of his kind of ghost note, your softer snare hits on there. Keeps everything kind of cool. All those dynamic catches that that go with the drums and the guitar and the bass and all that kind of stuff there. Awesome soul. I love the soul. Frusciante. I don't know if you want to call it a solo. Would you call it a solo that's in the song? I'll call it a solo. Yeah. It's pretty. It's pretty that. It's just I'll call it.
It's almost a bit country, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the way he's going those little slides as well. Like without the what do you call it? Oh, it's called a slide, isn't it? That thing. Yeah. So just got a cool feel to it. Yeah. And that's pretty much how I roll with this track, man. Yeah. So I think many other Chili fans would feel the same way.
Yep. No, it's a very Chili Peppers song.
Absolutely. That's what you want. Yeah. Just rolling with it.
And the next song, The Righteous and the Wicked.
Oh,
this is
you
pretty cool.
A little, hang on. Oh, so you're spot on. So
is that right?
Yeah, that's cool as.
Yeah.
It's one of your favorites, is it?
Not one of my favorites. No. It's definitely a great track, and I love the sort of breakdown in the middle with the guitar riffing and how John adds in some harmonies and stuff like that. So again, really cool musically, this song. Does he sing the chorus? Is that John singing that?
Like that kind of I'm trying to think. He does the like the falsetto. I think he does it. I'm not too sure. I think he does. I know he does the falsetto vocal, all those la la las in the song. That's.
Oh yeah.
Is that John? Oh, is that John or is that Flea? Oh, I can't remember. I thought it was John. I can't remember. Actually, you know what? It's on the DVD, so I have to go back and check that out.
Yeah. Again, bass line, cooking. Love it. Yeah.
We talk about the theme of the album being set, lyrically being a sex induced lyrical album.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just the feel of the music. There's so much that's got a sexy feel to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sexy feel. I guess a lot of funk. I guess that's what kind of funk is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get funky. What is that? What is the meaning behind "Let's Get Funky"? That's what funk music was about. And you got that. You got that whole funky vibe going on. Funky, sexy, vibe running throughout all the tracks here. So,
especially on this next track, which is obviously a favorite of most.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. Yeah. Give it away now.
That's right, man. What a huge track.
Oh, yeah.
Really hearing this for the first time, back in the good old days. And yeah, when you're a kid listening to this stuff, it's kind of like you just yell and give it away, and what you got to give it to your mama. It's like you're just singing, you're just saying words.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they're on about. It's like when you start singing the words out loud, and then your mum pulls you up on it.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you saying? They're like, I'm just singing a song,
Give what exactly?
God, I know. Yeah, it's like, you feel kind of you kind of cringe. I think, dude, I just didn't know better.
But again, like for Anthony Kiedis to come up with a melody as catchy as he has, under a bass line like Flea's playing.
That's the driving force, isn't it? That bass line is really the driving force of the track. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And great music video, which was directed by French filmmaker Stephanie Senawawi or something. I can't even pronounce it. But
I'll leave that to you, yeah.
Yeah, it got heavy rotation on MTV, obviously, and I still remember seeing the video back in the day, and it was crazy. It's still crazy to watch now. It's a great video, and it really suits the song and gets out their attitude, gets out what the Chili Peppers are about.
Absolutely, yes.
But just this whole song, each part, whether it's John's backward guitar solos, which are really cool, great idea. I don't know whose idea that was. Obviously, Flea's bass line, Chad's drums, Anthony singing melodies.
It's just such a cool thing hearing that, because you don't really, I guess, in a commercial standpoint, you don't really kind of hear like it's always a guitar. You always hear it's like, it's a guitar riff. Everyone's loving a guitar riff, or even the drum groove. But this is actually a song where I think all the guitars and the drums sound freaking hot as well. There's some great grooves all around, but it is the driving force of the bass in this song. It's that dum 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 dum.
Yep.
It's like, whoa, that's interesting. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting on. Not just. Yeah, again, it's Flea. Flea wouldn't put himself into a spot of compromise. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna lay it his way, and he's gonna make sure you enjoy it. And we all did. Everything was very appealing with that track. And which number release was that, Mr. Craig?
Single. Oh, this was their lead single, which it was actually released before the album. September 4th, 1991. They released this, so it was about 20 days before the album.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, it's just a fucking cool song, and it's a cool video. Yeah. And whenever I picture Flea playing bass, it's him playing bass in this song, the way he's just leaning into it, taking up the whole neck, up and down the neck. It's just crazy. It's great.
Just loose and free. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's what you just love about it, man. It's like, it's just so cool to look at, and they mean it. There's so much purpose in their movement, their mannerisms, the way in which they are truly one with their instruments, aren't they?
Yeah. This is have to be one of the best tracks on the album, I'd say. I know it's a popular track too, like Smells Like Teen Spirit and that, so most people know it, but it is truly a top track, I reckon. And Flea definitely drives this song with his bass, but everyone else fits in there as well, and the way Kiedis sort of sings, give it away, with the vibration of the tongue and stuff like that. It's great.
Yes. Can you do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you roll your tongue?
Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
You got it. That's it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, I love it. Beautiful.
Yep.
No, killer track. Great song. Just a great song. Yeah.
And it's probably why they led with it as their lead single. I don't know who made that call.
Yeah, it is definitely an ass kicker. You can hear it. You can hear the commercial appeal, like you can with pretty much more than half the songs on this. There's a lot of songs on this album that could have been could have been releases. I think 5's enough, but
yeah.
But no, it's definitely got the one that just kind of it's the chorus again. It's the chorus appeal of the song, because you could just keep saying give it away now, or just the way it works. It's just anyone can scream it out, and it's fun. It's almost a bit of an arena rock appeal to it,
Yeah, and that's actually where Flea sort of almost drops out in the chorus. He just does it.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. The chorus before the.
Yeah, he's very light in the chorus because he's so heavy in the verses. Because
it's just a lot of just drums and vocal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just
that really kind of overpower. Yeah.
It just really opens up for Anthony to sort of sing his part. So it was really cool how they constructed that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully
Great song.
done. Well
Great
done,
song.
fellas.
Well done, fellas. Yeah.
That's off you. Well done.
And the next song is the title track, Blood Sugar Sex Magik.
It is what it is.
Excuse me. This is probably one of the heaviest songs on the album, I guess you'd say. Really love John's wah-wah pedal on this song.
Oh, very sexy.
But this is a really cool song, I think. This is one of my favourites. And I guess maybe one of Anthony's more aggressive sounding vocals.
Yeah, he's got to really bring his voice down on this one, almost like just talking. Yeah.
So no, great tune.
Really, but when it gets to that chorus though, it just kind of kicks you in the chest, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of heavy, I think. At least in terms of this album. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because this is kind of just a real solid groove going on for the majority of the song. Even the guitar solos got a real. Plays a solo tour, but what do we call a solo or a lead break? I don't know. I'm not sure what the terminology is. He does it that's happened a couple of times in the song there. A real sexiness, a real sway to it. Yeah. Definitely get their point across with this one.
Yeah. Again, each part is all over this song, and it's definitely one of my favorites off the album. And I'm assuming they had the name of this track before they decided to call the album the same thing. I think they were struggling to actually find a name for the album, weren't they?
Not too sure. You got something there?
I think I remember reading. I think that Anthony Kiedis and Rick Rubin were driving, and they were talking about titles for the album, and I think Rick sort of just said, Blood Sugar Sex Magik just sums up what the album is about, something like that.
Oh, no, sorry, I apologize. He does. Yeah, he does mention that on on Funky Monks on the. Basically, the whole aura of what they are, essentially what they are all about. Yeah. Lust-driven young men. Yes.
Good decision, I think.
Oh, mate, you listen to Frusciante on the on that doco, and he's through his interviews, and he's just I know he's a bit of a space cadet.
Yeah.
But just the way he relates to everything with him is all about, that kind of whole, lust, intimacy, how he becomes one with not just someone, but how he's basically making love to the music that he's writing.
Yeah. And he'll avoid masturbating if he thinks that's going to get in the way or something like that.
So it's all that. He's definitely got a way of how he approaches things, and it's funny. Even at the end, the way he talks about it, about that whole process. It was like being with, one woman the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, some things have to come to an end, and on to the next one. Yeah. So not exactly the words he used, not exactly the way he says it, but he kind of he drives that point of that this was one big beautiful intimate experience. But unfortunately, now what the fuck do I do? I have to move to the next one now. To the next thing. So I love it. He's definitely a bit of a space cadet, but we love him for it.
Very interesting to hear him talk. He's got that genius thing about him, doesn't he?
He's quite an enigma.
Spiritual sort of genius.
Yes.
And a lot of his solo stuff is really amazing too. A lot of his solo albums are great.
Remember years ago, I had to learn one of his songs. I had a recital one from my music course. And like it was strange, like because I'd only ever known him from Chili Pepper stuff, and the guy gave me the recording of this one song. I can't remember what the name of the song was, but I had the whole CD. It's amazing how much like electronic stuff he had on his recordings. Like it was mainly electro with guitars.
Yeah,
I was like, this is not what I expected. Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm
just one of those guys, one of those artists that wherever the music takes him, it takes him. He's not really going to constrain himself to anything in particular, which I appreciate.
He's a pure artist. That's it. Nothing gets in the way. He's feeling something, you know. Yeah. He's going to express it. He's built on heart and feeling. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, and a lot of drugs. So
yes.
Yes. So let the man roll. I'm so bloody happy that he's back with the Chili's, man. When I heard that he was coming back, I was like, yes.
That's his third time coming back.
It is. Yeah, that was great when he came back. Oh, look, I mean, I was rapt to hear him. We obviously rapt to hear him come back for Californication. I'm probably one of the few Navarro lovers. You know. I mean, Navarro, he's an awesome dude, you know, Jane Addiction and all that. I liked what Navarro had done on one. I mean, I think it was more to do with Navarro. He was in the band, he did his thing, but it was never going to be a long-term thing. I don't think so. Now to have John back, to come back and you know, and be part of that driving force again, that's just a beautiful thing. And I was sad when he left again, and now you know. Jumping for joy when I heard that he was coming back again. So
again.
Yeah. Bring it on, man! I can't wait for this next recording. I hope it's I need a good one. I didn't like the last one, so let's see what they can do on this new one.
What was the last one? Was that On With You? Oh, what was it?
Was it called The Getaway?
Oh, I don't think I even.
I'm With You came out a few years prior to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 2011, On With You. That was my last Chili Peppers. Jeez. I don't think I've even listened to The Getaway.
Yeah, I remember. I know we're not talking about this other album now, but I just remember sitting. I remember my wife and I going up to Bendigo for her brother's 40th, and we stayed up there the night. The next day, the album had released. So I'm like, oh, fantastic! You know, we're gonna from Bendigo back to Melbourne. We're gonna put this album on in the car. And great. We got listed all the way from Bendigo to home. Yep. And 3 songs in, I couldn't listen to it. I am bored. This is boring.
Oh no!
It is boring the hell out of me. This CD on Spotify. This stream is boring me. So I know a lot of people liked it. I couldn't dig it. I wasn't feeling it, man. And a lot of the time, it is just to do with. I think it is to do with what Frusciante has. As I am like with Bon Jovi and Phil X, you know, it's like it's not said. I know I know where the chemistry really lies, you know. So some bands, you know, changing members works, but this didn't sit with me. So
especially Frusciante. I mean, when he came back for Californication, and then by the way after that, Stadium Arcadium, he was all over those albums. Like he was like vocally as well. So to pull him out, I actually thought I'm With You was a good album, which was my last, and that sort of shows how long it's been since I've sort of listened to the Chili Peppers properly. So I totally missed The Getaway, totally missed it. But hopefully, are they working on something now?
They are, yes.
Oh, they're beautiful, awesome.
So let's see what they can do, eh?
Yeah.
Let's see if they got any, Blood Sugar Sex Magik in them. Yeah, I'd love to hear some. Why not? Bring it on. Give it to the people. Give it to the. We want this stuff, man. Come on.
We need it.
Kick our asses with it. Come on, let's do it. Yeah. Let's get on to the next one, eh?
All right. What do we got up next, Mr. Looch?
All right. Well, this is one that we all know too well. It is a really freaking great song, and it is the one that introduced me to this amazing band. Under the Bridge Downtown.
Yep.
Man, this song, for me personally hearing this song, I think for a lot of us as well, like, it was such a big song in Australia. I'd probably say it's probably their biggest song to date. And it's like a song that just carries so much meaning. Okay, finally it breaks away from the whole I guess the sexual theme of the album, and something that's a bit more as Anthony Kiedis describes it as he calls it a salad, a ballad or a sad ballad, as most ballads are sad, because of just basically what the whole story is behind it, essentially, like the whole I guess going down, when he was pretty much down on his luck and not having any money or anywhere to live or any friends or anybody in his life, any sort of purpose, still have the Chili Peppers, but nothing really much going on, just a man down on his luck and bloody looking for the next score. So go down to the down Los Angeles under the bridge in Los Angeles to get their score and shoot up and waste oneself essentially. And look, I mean, they've already had the tragic loss of one of their mates, which I guess enticed him to clean up his act and get better. You lose a band member who's essentially a part of your family. Hillel Slovak. They're all just such big abusers, and I think it takes unfortunately it takes a moment where it's too late, before you realize something has to change. And that's essentially what the song is about, just the overcoming the addiction.
Yeah, I mean, reading his drug use and history and battle with it was actually pretty confronting. Of all the music biographies I've read, his was one of the most disturbing, maybe. Like I was surprised. So it's a good read, but it's pretty confronting with that side of things.
From a young age, very young age, he was surrounded by. Again, he had a family that was his dad. He was very much into the art sector of things and traveling and moving from home to home, and he was just surrounded by it. So very easy thing for him to have just fallen into, And then when you got it running through your band, through your business, you just it just keeps going and going, at the point where where, like I said, it takes someone who's part of your family, to see, to make that change.
Yeah. So this was released on the 10th of March in 1992 as their second single. And like you said, it was probably their highest commercial success song. I think it's their highest. I just had a look then. It's their highest streaming song on Spotify. But obviously it's one of those songs we hear on the radio at least a couple of times a day. And it's one that I probably flick past for that reason. But it's a great song. It's definitely a great song. It's a great video. And
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember so this is the song that got me into the band, like, because it was always on video hits back in the day. Mm-hmm. It was such a big song. It was always, every Sunday you'd watch the show and it was, top 5. I'm pretty sure it did hit number 1 over that, span of time there. Mm-hmm. So you see it every week, and it was such a great song. For me, as a kid hearing that, it was just a song with a great, it was just a great song. That you just, I didn't understand the lyric. I didn't really pay attention to what the lyrics meant. It's still down the track. Obviously, when you grow up a little bit, you start to kind of dig deep and start learning about the story behind what every song is about, I guess, because every song has a meaning to it. So it really kind of hit me later on when I took notice of what it was all about. So kind of then you go back and you listen to it again, and to me it felt new again hearing it, because you hear the songs all the time, you kind of you want to heard it so much you just kind of flick past them as time goes on, but it kind of made me want to just go back and really understand and then even when you start singing it, you start understanding the meaning. So again, it kind of felt new, like, you know, when I kind of hit my teenage years, paying more attention to that side of things. And it's amazing that, like, with this song being the single, because it doesn't sound like from everything else we've talked about, you know, big, energetic, funky, sexy, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You know, this is a ballad, which is not what would, as far as releases go, isn't something that Chili Peppers fans would have been used to from their previous stuff as well. But yeah, like, it came to a time where they were going to find the next single of the song. The next single to release. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, same thing, kind of. Yeah. Next single to release. Excuse me. And they had the guys from Warner at one of their shows come check them out. You know, all the PR guys there and everything. And they basically had to, you know, this was basically them to show off what the Chili's were made of. And when they got to performing this song, I think Anthony had missed his cue, or he buggered up his lyrics, or it was something like, I think it was more to do with him missing the cue. So he was like, he completely stuffed it up. But the band, the audience started singing the song. Like, as soon as, you know, the time was to come in and sing, and he forgot to sing his part, the whole audience started singing and then took over. And after the show, he was chatting with the label guys there, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I butchered it. I missed my cue, and oh no, you know, tragedy. I embarrassed myself in front of the label here." And they were like, "This is a blessing in disguise. We just found your next single."
Yeah, right.
If you've got a song that everyone's already singing, you know, a bunch of kids, you know, have already singing before it's even been released, that already engaged with it. Bang, we know what we're releasing now, and shoot, how about that? And look what it turned out to be. The biggest, well, to this point, biggest stream song. So I'm guessing it probably is still their biggest song to date.
Yeah. Yeah, going from Give It Away to this song as their next single is a pretty big jump, isn't it? Pretty big difference.
It's very unchilly. And there's no, you know, sometimes when you hear bands like, you know, that are big, they have the big rock songs, big energy songs, and they have a ballad, and everyone's like, oh, this, you know, sell out, you know. You know, no, there's nothing sell out about this. This is deep. This is deep, and there's always elements in there, especially with that. You know, towards the end of the song, we talk about the meaning of the song. You know, under the bridge downtown is where I drew some blood.
Yeah,
under the bridge downtown, I could not get enough. You know, you're talking about, you know, under the bridge downtown where I gave my life away. You know, basically, it's validating the meaning of what under the bridge really is. But you know, so it's just. It's heavy, man. It's literally very heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts behind "Jump" by Criss Cross.
Wow. A song with a real deep meaning. Yeah. Because inside out is wiggity 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 whack. Yeah.
That's kind of funny, actually. I was just thinking, like, that whole Under the Bridge thing. There was a song on Nevermind released on the same day, as we've said earlier in the episode. Nirvana's song Something in the Way, also Kurt sung about sort of living under a bridge. So on those 2 albums, you know, similar. I just sort of...
That wasn't a release, though. That song wasn't a release, though, was it?
No.
A single, yeah.
No. So, but, you know, that story was often talked about, and... you know, Kurt living under a bridge in Aberdeen, and obviously Anthony doing a similar thing but taking drugs. So kind of interesting.
Those upbringings, eh? Yeah, they definitely write good stories, don't they? They've lived through some shit.
Yeah, but this song definitely kicked the Chili Peppers into the top 10, as David Fricke Rolling Stone said. Now, this was originally a poem that Anthony Kiedis wrote, and I think Rick Rubin was going through his notebooks one day. Is that right? And
I believe
he picked it out.
That is in the
documentary.
Book.
I think. Yeah.
I thought it might have been in the Kiedis book.
Oh yeah, actually it might have been. Yeah. So
had to use it, yeah. Let it out, yeah. 'Cause he was always just noodling poetry, words, yeah.
I think he was a bit funny about singing this song at first, wasn't he? From what he didn't want to sing it or share it with anyone, but he eventually came around. So, so I don't know if that was because of the words or the style of singing that he sort of had to do, more of a ballady style.
I'd say it was would have been probably a bit of both. I mean, it's pretty, because it's pretty heavy, you know, like it's personal. It's extremely personal, no matter what way you sing it, you know. Yeah. So it worked out well in the end, and I think it is a song that's not just a hit because it's a great sounding, commercially accessible song, but I think lyrically it does kind of hit a lot of hearts, a lot of people, whether it's speaking to them or someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. Great song, classic song, and obviously paid off well for them, as you said. So but I don't know if this album would have been as popular without this as a single, maybe.
Yeah. Not at all. No. So an album where they just went all in on everything, why not throw it in there? You know.
Yeah.
So it's good because it's relatable.
I think this was in the Keita's book as well, where he talked about he thought it was funny that like housewives and stuff would hear Under the Bridge and be like, "Oh, this is a nice song," and then they'd buy the album and take it home, and a song like Sir Psycho Sexy would come on and they'd freak out.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think we've all made that choice when we've heard one song, you know, that the band has released and it's going to have the commercial appeal to it. And then you get the album and you're like, oh my God, what have I bought? You know, what is, I was not expecting any of this. Whoops.
Yeah, and we'll get to Sir Psycho Sexy shortly. One of my favourite tracks.
Oh, so sexy. Yeah, love it. Let's keep it up.
So, what do we got next? Naked in the Rain.
It's amazing how fun the album again, a great album, but how fun the rest of the album gets from this point.
Yeah.
You know, it gets a bit silly.
Yeah.
Like I said, Naked in the Rain. It's just such a silly song. Yeah.
This reminds me of Suck My Kiss a little bit. It's got that sort of tightness, that riff tightness, where they're just so tight together.
Yeah.
Sort of punchy, like Suck My Kiss a little bit to me.
Just so funny, just lyrically, it's just funny. It's about whales and Dr. Dolittle and all this kind of, it's just a bit more of a fun track.
It's a cool song.
It is. It's got a great groove. Yeah. Just a bit of, very kind of almost anthemic. The chorus is very just sing along. It's got a very sing along feel to it. I don't know I've never heard it live before. I've never researched if they've ever done it. I'm sure they probably have. It's something that's just like I said, a bit of fun. Yeah.
Great song. Bass sounds great. Tight as. Excellent.
That's what you want. That's what you want to hear. Yeah, nothing more probably. Yeah.
Next up,
Apache Rose
Peacock.
Yeah.
This one sort of reminds me a little bit of Sir Psycho Sexy. It's like it's baby brother or something.
Yeah, the connotation of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think some of the actual lyrics in it.
It's a bit sexually menacing, like Sir Psycho Sexy.
That's right. Yeah. Just talking about the old Mr. Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Under the Bridge. That's a nice song. Oh, what's this? Apache Rose Peacock. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Doesn't get much more of that. Then when basically kicking it. Yeah. So, what do you like about as far as the song Apache Rose? What's your take on it?
I think it's a sexy song.
Just sexy. It is.
Funky.
It is.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature, but we love him so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of menacing. Like I don't know if that's the right word. It's they just sort of like a lot of the songs have got that sexual connotation, but this one sort of ups it a little bit, like Sir Psycho Sexy. I just think it's a cool sort of fun song.
The strut, it's about just I guess male hedonism almost. But
And it's kind of what you come to expect from Anthony Kiedis lyrically.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, he's got him written all over it. So
not shying away from the obvious. Let's just say, yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you read the book, you sort of get what he's about, and it makes sense.
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's a cool song. Love it.
The next one. Geez, funny say 17 songs, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
But we've got the greeting song. Man, tempo. You talk about speed of a song. This one's a big kind of speed, loud song, just like just kind of driving in your car kind of song. Crank it up, play it loud, have some fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cool. It's like it's got this sort of frantic, sort of high energy thing about it. Because the drums are quite sort of straightforward, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the guitar and it's a cool song. I like this one. It's like high energy.
Just high energy. The greeting song. It's like I love that drum thought at the start. Yeah, just kind of slaps you in the face.
And I was reading before that Anthony Kiedis isn't a big fan of this song, actually.
Yeah, I did. I think I did read something about that recently as well. But Rick Rubin loved it. I know that much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rick Rubin sort of wanted him to write a fun song about girls and cars and that sort of stuff.
That was it. Yes.
And,
that rings a bell.
And Kiedis didn't like the idea at the time and never has, but wrote the song anyway. And I think he still doesn't like it. So,
I think that, you needed someone to kind of break up, just kind of break it up a little bit, somewhat, you know. But no, it's just a kind of high-powered, high-energy kind of fun song. And just talking about some of the other silly stuff now. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the guys were never into. Oh, I mean, they were probably into it, but not just so much singing about it. And you leave that shit to Motley Crue. That kind of thing.
Girls.
But there you go. They went. That's what they were all about. They definitely weren't shying away from any of that kind of thing there. So
yeah, but no, this is a cool song. It's kind of heavy, sort of punchy again. I dig it.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like it's just like it winds you up just at that little bit of the stuff. Like, bang.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Enjoy it. Have some fun. Cool as. All right.
Now this next one, My Lovely Man.
Yes.
Was this written about Hillel Slovak?
Yes, it was. Oh, yeah. Basically, in dedication to the late great fallen brother of theirs. So, I actually had some notes on that. Yeah. But you take it away if you like.
Yeah. Look, I don't have a lot to say on this one. Can't say it's one of my favourites on the album, but again, it's hard to imagine the album without it because it's part of it now. But it's probably not one of my go-to. I enjoy the more funk, high-energy ones like the Greeting Song or Sir Psycho Sexy or Suck My Kiss. But it's a nice song, this one.
It is a nice one. It's got the song. Like the lyrics that the quotes that I had just kind of punched up here. It's basically from Anthony Kiedis when he was having a chat with Rolling Stone. I'll hit you with the quote direct here. My lovely man is about my love for Hillel and the fact that eventually I will find him. Kind of like when I die, I'm counting on him to save me a seat. And whenever I sing that song, Hillel is completely in my world. Isn't that nice? Yeah. He was great. He was amazing. What amazing guitarist he was. I love. I mean, all that other back catalog stuff of Chili's, especially on Uplift Off a Party Plan. And just unfortunately just took the wrong turn, made a bad choice, and but so hopefully when everyone's turn, they'll be he's waiting. He'll be waiting for the guys,
Yeah.
When their time comes. So So yeah, just a nice homage, let's just say, of a track, And then lost my track listing. Are we up to the final track?
Well, second last. So Psycho.
So Psycho. Sorry, so I've lost my track listing. There you go.
8 minutes and 17 seconds of Sir Psycho sexiness.
Sir Psycho, yeah.
This is such a cool song, this one. I really like this one. The way they take it out with the outro and stuff like that. It's worlds away from the first half of the song, I guess. It's just got that similar Apache Rose Peacock sort of thing to it.
Yeah.
Highly sexual.
It's often one of the, like I was saying, like it's one of the. I keep getting mixed up with some of the names of the songs. This is one of the ones I kept kind of getting mixed up with because of the kind of the feel and the theme of it. So Sir Psycho. 8 minutes of just Sir Psycho madness. Yeah. Just being a dominant, being a dominant male. Yeah. Having all the goods.
Yeah, I always find that quite funny what Keita said about, Housewives buying the album for Under the Bridge, but then getting So Psycho Sexy at the end.
That's it.
So
that's why it becomes like this back end of the album is just such a fun, silly time they're having, but they do it so well without it being corny. You know, that's the thing. Yeah, it's easy to be corny, I think, but they sell it well off creativity and good songwriting. So yeah.
And I think they were at the right age to pull off some of the lyrics that they did, like out of this album. They were at that age that sort of maybe made it okay, but you can't imagine them releasing something like that these days, or anyone for that matter. Anyway,
that's such a weird thing when you hear a lot of the. Look, I mean, if I turn on MTV, and I'm basically watching softcore porn, why does all this stuff have to get thrown under the bus? When all the same shit that's popular today is talking about the same stuff. Yeah. I don't know.
Some pretty gross stuff out there now, like tacky gross too. Like this sort of stuff is sort of funny, sort of almost comedic.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah. But stuff today is just tacky gross. It's not.
Tack.
It's not even artistic. It's not even
it's just,
clever.
It's just, no. It's just all out there. It's a lot of it is more visual appeal than audible. Which really sucks. Yeah.
So big hat tip to Sir Psycho for me. It's one of my favourites.
Awesome.
And the last song, track number 17, They're Red Hot.
They're Red Hot.
This is a
that was
cover.
Recorded out. Is it?
I think so. Written and performed by Delta Blues musician Robert Johnson.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
I think
I'm gonna have to look that up. I was unaware that was a cover. The one song that wasn't recorded in the house.
Huh? Sorry? It wasn't?
One track was not recorded in the mansion.
Oh, where was this recorded?
Outside, just outside.
Oh, okay.
Outside the mansion. Yeah, they did it outside, just basically on one of the hills there. It was all in just open space. Microphones. Very simple setup. That's why you hear it. It sounds like it's. It doesn't sound like it's mass produced. It's very a lot of the drum work on there. Chad's playing. It's actually just playing with his hands. It's just bare hands. No stick. Actually, the whole song is all done with his hands.
Okay.
So there's no real kind of grooves. Getting that real kind of that delicate kind of snare sound. He's hitting the cymbals with his hands. That fucking hurts, by the way.
Yeah.
Doing all that. So he's got bloody baseball mitts for hands anyway. So all good for him. But that's all it was. I'm pretty sure it was done in a few takes because it's got a very live / demo feel to it. A bit like the last podcast we did, talking about Bon Jovi, New Jersey, Love for Sale, the way they kind of closed that album. It's very much a live recording, essentially a demo, and there you go. That's the way to close the album. We're done.
Yeah.
close the door,
Yeah.
and they're red hot. Well, it goes for like a minute, I think. It's a very pretty quick
I
song.
mean,
So,
could they have done without this song on the album?
well, possibly, because I had about 25 songs recorded or ready, at least for the album. So I think it's kind of. I mean, look. I mean, I guess you got to realize it's got to fit onto a CD. It's got to. They probably had to. I'm not sure how long the CD goes for, but you got to. Or if you're doing vinyl or cassette, as they were doing back then as well. I think you are within that kind of limitation. So, which is probably why, because they had songs like Sick of Muck and Nico, which ended up on the Wayne's World soundtrack. Was Soul to Squeeze Soul to Squeeze was recorded at the same time as well.
Yeah.
And that ended up with the Conehead soundtrack.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, how the hell did that get left off this album? Because that is one of my favourite Chili Pepper songs.
It's a ripper, absolute ripper.
Yeah.
And that was a huge hit for them too. So, I mean, I guess you just don't realise that. I mean, you don't know what's going to be a hit at the time. You don't know. You've got 25 songs to choose from. You got to go with what you feel are the best 17, and probably to their ears, those other tracks, which is great because at the end of the day, they still ended up on something else.
Yeah,
they still ended up on soundtracks, and they were big parts of those soundtracks.
Because Soul to Squeeze, it was recorded in those sessions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then by the time it was released, John had already left the band. I think because he wasn't in the video.
Yes, that is correct, because I think that was 90. I think Coneheads was 93, and he left during the tour. John had left during the Blood Sugar tour. Him and Kiedis were starting to go blows. They were having some issues. I think a lot of this success and spotlight was starting to get to John.
Yeah.
The whole fame, obviously, that was that tour album and tour was absolutely huge for them.
Yeah.
It was starting to get John a lot. During that tour, he had brought someone in with him. I think when they were doing their European tour, he met up with someone over there, a girl over there, and she basically comforted John, and she started traveling wherever he went, with the band. And Anthony hated that. Because they had a rule, basically, no girlfriends, no wives, spouse, whatever. That was the rule. John just said fuck it. And he basically told them just before one of the shows, I'm not playing, I'm done. I'm done with the band now. But no, they convinced him to do the show at least. But they said that the gig was just shit house. It was like, that someone's leaving, like, it's not supposed to be this way, one of your brothers is leaving, but so the gig was pretty ordinary. John had left, and they brought Arik Marshall in to fulfill the remainder of the tour.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, a session guy.
Yeah.
So getting back to the point. John had left the band by that stage. Well, there's the backstory to that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. August 1993, it was released. Soul to Squeeze.
Yeah.
Part of the Conehead soundtrack, like you said.
Yep.
Originally recorded during Blood Sugar Sex, although it was not featured on the record. I think it was used as a B-side on the singles "Give It Away" and "Under the Bridge."
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, and that actually became popular. It became a release. How about that?
And then they released it on the Greatest Hits album in 2003.
Good.
But yeah, it was always one of my favourite Chili Pepper tracks, actually.
Yeah, I remember back in the. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I found it funny at the time that it wasn't actually on an album, one of their albums.
That was. I guess. Sorry, before I interrupted. Sorry, it was what I was going to get to myself was younger and doing my research and buying the CDs and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't find this thing anywhere. I couldn't look up Wikipedia for it, So it's like, where is this thing? So for years, the song had just passed me by because I didn't know. And then a friend of mine had the Conehead's soundtrack. I didn't. They just had it on, and I'm like, oh well, I didn't know they were listening to. I just had this CD going on in the background, and it was probably like 98 or 99, whatever it was, 1998, 99, and I was like, oh my god, here's the song. I took the CD home and I burnt it, as we did. As it was a style at the time. But I was like, oh, what a relief. Okay, so my journey was over, like finding out of that. So that was cool. So it was such a great song.
Yeah, great video too.
Is it the circus or something? I can't remember.
The traveling
black
circus.
and white video. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, and they didn't have John or any other guitarist in the band at that stage, but it's got the monkey in it and the guy shooting out of the cannon, big elephant and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really cool video, and it was always one of my favorite songs. But it found it strange that it didn't belong anywhere. Much like I think it was Pearl Jam's "State of Love and Trust." That was one of my favorite songs of theirs, but I don't think that wasn't on 10 or anything like that, was it?
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like, yeah, you got all these songs that you've written, and yeah, you got to, and whether it's the label that wants a certain amount on the recording, on the overall package of it as well. But it's good that they can still surface. I love hearing B-sides. That was one thing I really looked forward to back in these times was buying a single from a band and hearing, look at the back and going, okay, I haven't heard this song. It's not going to be on the album. So what's this all about? So that was a really cool thing. So I've still got so many of my CD singles from bands, growing up, and it's like I learned, it's like it's so cool having that because it was just like another way to get. It was the way to get your hands on it, So, so pretty cool.
Yeah, B-sides was always a thing, wasn't it? Even on like record singles, you'd have. Obviously the lead single and a B-side on the other side. Same with CDs. I guess with the digital age, there's no such thing as a B-side.
No.
There's nothing to print it on the reverse side of.
That's it. It's just all out there. So this amazing album, like it's like I can't remember. I asked you this. Like, what was your first experience? I probably should have asked at the start this, but what was your first experience? Like when, like I can remember when I first got my hands on it and started listening to it. What was do you remember when you first acquired such the item, the recording?
I don't actually. Like, my copy is pretty old, so I have had it a while, but I don't remember when I brought it. I know, going back to our mutual friend Jared again, and his brother Ty, he was into a lot of Green Day and Chili Peppers. So I reckon it might have been through him that we got into the Chili's, but I don't remember exactly when. But yeah, he was always cranking music. I'd stay at Jared's on like Friday night, and then early in the morning, his brother in the next room would be cranking out Green Day and Chili Peppers and that sort of thing. Man, it was just such a great time now that I think back. Like,
yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Stuff to take
what he was doing.
Like
yeah, and me and Jared were discovering Nirvana and Silverchair and all this stuff. And then you'd hear like Green Day coming from the next room, and you're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Like, I'm still half asleep, but that sounds pretty cool. I wish he'd turn it down a little bit because I'm trying to sleep in here. But yeah, he was more sort of punk and funk, whereas we were more grunge and rock and stuff, I guess. But at the end of the day, it all bloody crosses over and comes together. So yeah, I don't remember exactly, but Chili Peppers have been on my radar for most of my time, I guess. So, but yeah, I definitely got into, I think, like Californication and was it By the Way? Is that the album after that?
Yes.
And Stadium Arcadium. But this is a different era for me, and definitely appreciate it. But Yeah. So I can't remember exactly, but they've always been there in some capacity, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And the artwork, man, like I was just looking at that as we were talking, like that's pretty iconic sort of artwork, I reckon.
I love it. It looks great on a t-shirt.
Do we know...
Their logo just looks great on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Do we know who did the artwork for this album?
We have I believe
Let's
we
have a look.
Some looks here.
Oh, tongue illustration by Henky Panky.
oh, yeah, old mate Hanky Panky. Yeah, I know him.
Hanky Panky. So it's probably one of the band.
Artwork, all photography. I've got a little something here. So all photography, paintings, and art direction for Blood Sugar Sex Magik were credited to filmmaker Gus Van Sant, with the exception of the tongue illustration. Here we go. With the exception of the tongue illustration, which, according to the album booklet, as you just said, is credited to Henky Pinky, otherwise known as Henk Shiftmarker.
Okay.
There we go. That's all it is. It's just...
Okay. Yeah, well, that artwork is really cool, actually, now that
It is. It's just a really, like I said, it's very iconic. You know, you see it a lot through pop culture. You see a lot of T-shirts these days with a lot of the Blood Sugar Sex Magik stuff on there, whether you're a fan or not. You know, we have that debate of the people wearing the T-shirts, whether they're into the band or not. Name 3 songs, you know, as we like to shout. But yeah, it's just so cool. And yeah, I remember. Yeah, I used to just love looking at that. I remember when I was in high school, going to the library and getting that album cover and putting it on the photocopier and expanding it into A3. And because I just wanted to have that nice and big on my wall and in my locker as well. I was a weird kid in year 7 with my obsession of the Red Hot Chili Peppers back when I was in high school.
I went to America in 2007. And I remember I came back with a T-shirt with this on it, but I didn't wear it much because it didn't fit me very well. And I reckon
too baggy, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. It was like
I know you love them slim.
It was a really wide fit, and I don't think I really wore it. I reckon I've chucked it out since. Idiot.
You chuck it in the dryer, crank up the heat, and shrink it.
Yeah, it was like sort of really short, but then it was wide. I'm like, what sort of a shaped person fits in this? So I didn't really wear it. Another notable mention that I just sort of was looking through the booklet. So this was produced by Rick Rubin, but it was engineered by Brendan O'Brien, who is a record producer in his own right. He's worked with the AC/DC, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Bob Dylan, Rage Against the Machine, Bruce Springsteen. What are some of the albums? Pearl Jam's Riot Act, Pearl Jam Binaural, Korn Issues, Limp Bizkit, Significant Other. He was a mixer. Yield, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Super Unknown. He mixed that. So this dude's been all over shit as well.
Man.
Yeah, AC/DC, Rock or Bust. You know.
All over it. The masterminds behind it, eh? It's incredible, yeah. So we'll just say something about, I wanted to jump back to Rick Rubin for a sec.
Yep.
Now, I believe initially he did want to work with the Chili Peppers. I think he was meant to be on the Uplift Mofo Party Plan album. He was asked to come in on that, but he wasn't a big fan of their lifestyle at the time.
Oh yeah, you're right.
A lot of the especially with the heroin use and all that kind of stuff there. So he essentially just backed out of it. I wonder what that album was. I mean, that's actually one of my favorite albums by them, by the way. So, judge it for what it is. But I mean, I wonder if it would have gone in a different direction. Musically, sonically, all that kind of stuff, songwriting wise, if Rick was on that as well, but we'll never know. And that's why it's in history now. So, I love that. I do love that album. But yeah, it's great that Rick had come aboard with Blood Sugar. They were very happy to meet handshake on that and get it done. So, and boy, oh boy, did they get it done.
Yeah, I think they came together at the right time there. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. So they were better. They were a better band. You know, bringing John and Chad into the band. I mean, you listen to, like I said, Mother's Milk is my favorite album from them. It's just such an exciting album. It's very arena rock. It's production. It's very big choruses, big guitars, metallic sound. That's what I like about it. It's very accessible as well, and the songs just just carried themselves for what they were. So you could, and at the time that was their most successful album. I think it just missed out on top 50 Billboard that year, Mother's Milk. So, but that was their most successful, and you could see where the band was going and where their sound with the addition of those two guys was stemming to. So, yeah, you knew that something bigger and better was coming aboard, and of course Anthony was a bit more cleaned up. I don't know whether he was totally clean, but he was a lot more, revived from previous outings. So it was just great. So what an album! 30 years, mate. 30 years of this sensational album, which I still never tire of. It's incredible.
Yeah, 30 years to the day. Obviously, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be in a couple of days, but we're recording this on the 24th of September, 30 years ago to its release. Yeah, man.
All right.
Yep.
Favorite songs? Hit me. What's the top three?
Oh, shit.
On the spot.
On the spot, yeah. Hang on, let me get... it's a bit hard to read the track listing on the back of the album. So let me get into Spotify.
Yep.
Look, it's hard to go past Give It Away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a great song.
It is what it is.
Suck My Kiss and Breaking the Girl. You know,
cool. That's cool.
I'm not being too adventurous there, you know.
But they are what they are. They're that good. It's just like, there's all the hits in there, and it's for a reason. It doesn't have to be any of the back, the back end of it. Yeah, it's just
But
no, great choices. Can't complain.
Yeah, but the Power of Equality, Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and So Psycho Sexy. It's hard to go past them as well. So
it's hard to pick a top three, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's a hard thing. Yeah.
What about yourself?
Myself, I would probably say. What did you say? Give It Away was your number one?
Yeah. Okay,
that's right. But for me, Suck My Kiss is number one. So
okay.
That's I just love that. I guess because it's for me, it's personal in a way that it was a development for me with my drumming.
Okay.
I always end up nerding back to my drums, but I just love that song so much. It's just so near and dear to me.
Yep.
I do. My Lovely Man. This for me, it is. Yeah, I really love the groove. I love the feel of it. And of course, because being about Hillel as well. I love Hillel as a guitarist. I think it's a great song too. Just great chorus, just nice grooves. Again, I guess being a nerd, drummer. Chad's hi-hat work is just sick in that song. Go listen to it later. Listen to Chad's hi-hat work.
All right, I will.
Cool. And then after that, Jesus Christ, it's tough, isn't it? So many good ones. Okay, I'm gonna do an equal third here. It's going to be Give It Away, or Mellowship Slinky in B major.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many. No. I take that back. Sorry, it's going to be. Oh shit. It's going to be a top. Fuck it, I'm going to tie third for all three. I'm cheating here. Let's add Power of Equality into that, okay?
Yeah.
So, shit. So, I can't separate. Oh my god, I don't know where I'd stick all. This is just all. It's all gold,
It's hard, man. Like 17 tracks down to top three. That's pretty. It's pretty hard.
I'm sorry I asked that question. Yeah, but look, they're amazing, and I'm glad that we're part of this. Excuse me, we're part of this time.
Yeah,
where we get to enjoy this, and again, it's been a big influence, if not just musically, culturally, to our lives as well. I think it's music itself acts as a soundtrack to our lives. Whether you're a musician or not, you can either put a song to a situation, like something that's just happened, or put it back to the time where you first heard the song. That's how I treat it. It works like a bit of a time capsule. So, and that's this album has definitely lent itself to that overall.
Yeah, and that's why I like to talk to you about music, because I know you totally get that, and it's kind of hard to express that sometimes to outwardly, but I think we grew up pretty similar.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
it's good. I like the like-mindedness, and I like talking with people like that and sharing those stories, because I like talking. I like stories. I like hearing about memories, and it coming down to the person talking to you and what you're about and why you are and who you are is a lot to do with a lot of the art.
Yeah, and I think you and I have carried that through with us to this point. I think a lot of people sort of let music go at some point or another, but we've sort of hung on to it as musicians as well. And like, music is just a huge part of our life. It's what we revolve our life around, and I think that's why we're finding life so difficult at the moment, especially is because it's sort of playing live, at least, has been taken away from us, and everything is just overshadowed by so much bullshit. So
it's been beautiful talking about this, because I haven't even thought one thing about what's going on in the outside world. The last, what have we done this? 2 hours? Dude, jeez, no, 2 hours.
More than 2 hours, yeah.
We just go, mate. We just go. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
So if you're still listening at this point, thank you for hanging around. I hope you haven't thought about all the bullshit that's going on either, because
it's just two guys rapping, man. That's all it is, and just enjoying a love for a love for music and what it actually means to us. And of course, to everyone out there who actually who listens to your show, can hopefully hopefully this brings back memories of where were you when you first heard this song, or when the album came out, or did you go to the tour, did you go to the gig? That's how I find that coming onto this podcast does it. It becomes a bit of that outlet, and it's a bit of storytelling rather than just talking about the album itself. It's to do with the listener as well. It's you want to gauge with the audience of what it means to them. That's a nice thing. That it's because it memories you hold on forever.
Because these albums are snapshots of a moment in time, and it's what we base our life around. It's like when we brought this album, when we got into it, or just when we became fans of whatever band, and it's how we chronicle our life, I think. So, well, this has been fun, and I didn't expect us to talk this long about it, but I'm not surprised either. So that's good. That's awesome. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening. If you're still listening to this point, you've done well to stick around this long. And I can't wait to do another album with you soon. Should we give away a short list of what we're thinking of doing? What do you reckon?
Oh, what are we thinking? Are we still basing it around 1991, and possibly we get a little someone else on board to throw in there too, Bob, as well?
Yeah, or maybe you and I can do another one in between that, just in case.
I do like that. I like that.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Are we still rocking on 91?
Yeah, because it's just such a massive year. Where's my little list here?
I was going to say, where's that list? I got it somewhere saved in my phone here.
Yeah. So, this month, we've got Nevermind released today, 30 years ago. Pearl Jam 10, Soundgarden, Badmotorfinger. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Smashing Pumpkins, Gish.
Ice Cube, Death Certificate. That'd be cool to do a rap album.
That'd be one I have to learn. Definitely have to learn about that. Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Dangerous.
Ooh.
That could be cool.
Got me tingling. All right.
Because you're a big fan of that, yeah?
That is my favorite MJ album. It's absolutely like one of my favorite albums. Wow, forgot about that. 91, of course. How did I not think of that?
Yeah.
That's the one. All right. Maybe is that the sneak peek? Have we locked it in, or am I jumping the gun?
I would like to do something like that because I'm a big MJ fan, and that was always one of my favorite albums. But I kind of just listened to it. I don't know a lot about what's behind it and stuff like that. And Slash played on "Give In to Me." That was off that album, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And that was one of my favorite songs. And Videos, ripping solo by Slash there as well. Did he play on Black and White? No.
Black or
was
White?
That just? Or he played it at the award shows. One of the award shows.
Yeah, I'm not
live.
sure. I'd have to go deep dive into that again. It's been a long time since I've listened to the album.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the guys from Toto played on that CD. But we'll save this for.
All right.
I think the spoiler's out. So yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. Coming to you soon with Looch and Craig breakdown of Michael Jackson's "Dangerous."
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I look forward to it. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for today. Tonight now. It's gone dark now. That's how long we've been talking.
Yeah. It's time for dinner. I think it's time for dinner.
Yeah, man. I'm starving. So thanks, man. Thanks for your time. It's been great to chat with you about this album. And I can't wait to do another one with you soon. I think we've got a couple on the horizon just quietly, but
I like it.
One by one. So thanks, Looch. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And any final words there, Looch?
Yes.
Yes.
Get me the hell out of this lockdown.
Open up Victoria, you bastards.
Yes. Well, look, to everyone out there who is feeling the same shit that we all are, just keep hanging in there. Look, I know it's hard saying that. I keep saying it, and sometimes I have to believe my own bullshit sometimes, but it's all we got right now, okay? But you know what? Stay close. Try to keep close with your friends and your family. Listen to some awesome music. Reach out. It's a tough time for everyone. But just keep close. Try not to go too loopy. We're going to get through this, and when we do, it's going to be ours once again. We're going to bring those good times back. So, my love to all you out there. Okay, we're going to be all right.
And I would add to that: turn the TV off, turn Facebook off, dive into some records or documentaries about music or nature or whatever. Just don't get caught up in the media spin and all this negativity. It's pretty gross. So, and that's partly why we've jumped on here today, you and I, Looch, to get away from some of that and focus on what we love, and that's music. And I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. And if you're still listening at this point, you're an absolute legend.
Thank you, legends.
Follow Fox on the Wire on Facebook and Instagram. And Looch, where can people find you?
Mainly my Instagram, which will be at Luchador Music. That's it, at Luchador Music. Sorry, that's it, at Luchador Music. So that's my teaching page there, and other silly stuff, bit of other music stuff, and just whatever's going on. Whatever crap, fun, silly. Nothing negative, nothing ever negative on my page. It's just all good happening stuff. So it'd be good to come throw us a follow. Yeah.
And actually, the single I just released about a month ago, almost 2 months ago now, Looch played drums on, called "The Fire Is Alive." So that was our first music collaboration together, actually, wasn't it? So
it was, and it was beautiful music. So go check out this guy. He will lighten up your day. Go check out the acoustic Foxx.
Thank you. Thanks, Looch. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Catch you again soon for another episode of Fox on the Wire. See you later, boys and girls. Bye.
Rock on, everybody. Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you, Craig.